Well, welcome back to the Life on Cars. Hope you're all well, keeping safe. Now in today's video, we're going to be summarising how much money I've spent on this car. Believe it or not, it's actually just gone over 1 year since I bought this car. So where are we now? We're the 23rd of October and it was the 14th of October 2022 when I bought this lovely XK. So I thought it'd be really useful for you guys to find out exactly how much money I've spent on it in 1 year's worth of motoring, including the price of the car. So come on, let's get into it. I've got my list ready and we're going to go through it and find out the total cost. Come on. So what about the car itself then? What did that cost to buy? Well, remember this was in October 2022. For those of you that are new to the channel, just a quick reminder of what the car is. So it's a Jaguar XK 4.2. It's a 2006. It was on a 56 plate. It had 85,500 miles on when I bought it. And the advertiser had it up on Auto Trader for £9,250. Now it was the right colour that I wanted, it was the right interior and the right wheels, and it was within budget. But you know what it's like, we did a bit of toing and froing, we had a few conversations over email, then I went to see the car and I spotted some defects on the car. But remember, it was a project that I was looking for, so I wasn't afraid of a few jobs. And after some discussion, I managed to get the car for £8,000. So I think I did quite well on the purchase price. To be honest with you, when I drove it away, I thought I'd stolen the car. I mean, it's such a lot of car for the money. But remember, it was very much a project. As you'll see on today's video, going through the spends that I've done on the car for the last year, you'll see there was quite a few jobs that needed doing on it. So let's get started then. So in terms of repairs or preventative maintenance, the first thing that I did was change the oil and filter, which is, I would guess, probably the most important thing to do when you first get a used car. So that was done, and that cost the grand total of £24.99 for a genuine Jaguar filter. And the oil, which was, I had to buy, 8 litres, so it was 2 4-litre tubs, that came to £50. Next job after that was, and like I said at the start of the video, one of the reasons why I got this car for a good price was it did need the headlining doing. And I did this before I actually started getting serious with the Life on Cars YouTube page, so I don't actually have any video footage of doing this, but basically I dropped it out myself and took it down to a local trim shop, and they charged me £180 to recover this, and then I fitted it back into the vehicle. And it's been spot on ever since. So what was next on the list after that? Well, those of you that have followed the channel since we got going, which was about 6 months ago, well, when we seriously got into uploads for the Jaguar, the job that I did next was the exhaust. It was a modification which is documented over 3 videos on our channel, where I changed the rear box for an XKR back box, and that was a super successful modification which ended up with a much nicer exhaust note. Now that cost me, for the second-hand exhaust, it was £150. There was a bit of fuel involved in the collection of that, but we don't need to worry about that. And then we had to buy a XKR bumper trim, which was £38.39p. And while all that was off, I also needed some new exhaust rubbers and a heat shield for the exhaust, and that was £51. So I guess you could argue that that job there wasn't actually necessary, as in it wasn't making any difference to kind of the way the car runs. There wasn't any faults on the exhaust. It was just a modification that I wanted to do, and I'm super pleased with the result on that. So I think that was money well spent. And then the next time we got the spanners out after that, you may recall we did the differential oil change due to the oil. Well, there was no service history at all for a differential oil change, so we got the correct oil and we vacuumed that out and got cracking with changing that out. And again, we did that on a video for the channel as well, if you're interested. That diff oil was £40.75p in total. Again, I think it was well worth doing that for peace of mind. What was next then? Well, we'd done a few runs out in the car by this point, and I'd noticed that the sat-nav wasn't working properly. It seemed to lose the GPS signal, and this ended up being a really cheap fix. Took a gamble on getting a replacement GPS antenna from an eBay seller, and it was super cheap. It was £7.49, and we were able to install that into the DVD unit in the boot, and the sat-nav's worked perfectly ever since. That was a super easy fix and cheap as well, so I was well over the moon with that. So the next time we were getting the spanners out, it was another electrical job, and I've noticed from buying the car that the horn didn't sound like that. It was more of a beep beep, because only one of the horns was working. And basically I was able to diagnose that fault down to bad wiring harness and a bad horn, and I ended up getting a pair of OEM, so the same make, from an online store, massively cheaper than Jaguar. Two horns came to £27.99p, so that was another bargain find, and in the end it was a super fix which has caused me no problems ever since. So after that we were getting stuck into some more preventative maintenance, and we ended up doing the air filter, which is down underneath the wheel arch here. Again, there is a YouTube video for that which is in the playlist for the Jaguar. That filter was a genuine Jaguar one, and that cost me £29.44 from the local Jaguar dealership. We then did the pollen filter. The pollen filter is underneath here, and I ended up getting one from a aftermarket supplier because I thought Jaguar wanted a bit too much money. I think they were wanting over £50 for the pollen filter, so I ended up getting a good quality aftermarket one, £32.57. And then carrying on with the theme of filters, we then got the back of the car jacked up and we did the fuel filter. Now the fuel filter was a genuine Jaguar part, however I ended up getting it cheaper online from an eBay seller that was a Jaguar dealer selling parts on eBay, interestingly. And then after that I did a restoration on the headlamps. They'd yellowed off a bit, so we used a procedure where we used some wet and dry paper and various polishes, and we brought the headlamps back. And it was at that point there that I decided to upgrade the headlamp bulbs. So we changed the HID bulbs and a couple of other bulbs on both sides. The bulbs came to £30 in total. not too bad, I didn't think, for those. Next thing on the list was the windscreen. Now I decided to get a brand new windscreen fitted to the car because there was some quite nasty stone chips right in front of the driver, and I was getting some delamination of the glass around the edge. Now those of you that watched that video, you would probably agree with me that it was letting the car down a little bit. So I ended up going to an insurance company and paid the excess, which was £100, and that got me a brand new screen. And I think that was money well spent because it's lifted the car and it's got rid of those horrible marks that were always annoying me every time I got into the driver's seat and looked through the windscreen. It looked like there was raindrops on the glass. So yeah, that was £100. So what was left? Well, the last expensive, or shall we say expensive for parts, I guess, was changing those 8 spark plugs, which came to, you may remember, it was £74.32 for those plugs. Anything else? Well, I've worked out that I've probably spent about £17.50 on various clips that were missing, bulbs, things like that, bits of like touch-up paint and things that I bought. And then when I got the car as well, I think it was about £30 to get the red centre caps for the wheels as well. And that's it. That's the full list of everything that we've done on the car so far. So how much did that come to altogether then? So that was £924.44p. So just less than £1,000 that I spent on this car, getting the car to where it is now. So there you go then. What do you think of that? So the whole thing so far, to get where I am today with the car, I'm still less than £9,000, which I'm quite pleased about. I think I did a good job when I bought the car, and for example, I've not spent any money on tyres, brakes, suspension yet, or anything like that. And generally the car has been behaving itself, touch wood. You do need to budget for spending a little bit on the vehicle to bring it up to scratch. And I've enjoyed the jobs I've done on this so far. Obviously I've not spent any money on labour because I've done all that myself, so there's a big saving there. It just goes to show, if you follow my buyer's guide that I have on the YouTube channel in the playlist for the Jaguar, it is still possible to find a good one of these on a budget. However, remember, at that end of the market there will be jobs that need doing on the vehicle. But they're such a bargain, I think, and they remain a bargain a year later. I'll see you very soon again on Life on Cars. Take care and stay safe. Bye bye.